Hi, I'm Jeffrey, and I'm a meditator. Like a lot of people, I started meditating because I wanted meaning in my life. I didn't even know back then that it would improve my state of mind. That was just a bonus. What pulled me in was the promise I kept hearing about, that something life-altering was possible if I could begin to meditate. So I went all in, or at least I thought I did. As it turns out, I didn't know how to meditate. Check out my free email course, The Meditation 101. It's something I put together to answer all the questions people have when they're looking to make meditation meaningful. Linked below. I just assumed anyone could do it. Just find a quiet room, close your eyes, tune in. So that's what I did. I tried all the stuff in the books, visualizations, chanting Om, and I had some experiences, but over time, the experiences didn't really amount to much. And my enthusiasm cooled. At some point, I just kind of felt like I was entertaining myself. And 2 years in, nothing had actually changed in my life. There was no big meaning. I'd read all the popular books, and I was aiming at the sorts of mystical experiences I thought I was supposed to be having. But I didn't really know if I was having them. I was just kind of alone with a bunch of books by people I'd never met. And it was kind of lonely and isolating. But then I was lucky. I met an actual teacher. This guy had been meditating for as long as I'd been alive. So I told him all about what I'd been doing and the books I was reading, and he was really the first person I'd ever actually talked to about meditation. And that surprised him. He told me it was important to talk about meditation with other meditators. And then he began to tell me about his training, about his teachers, about how he learned, and how he spent time each year in solitary meditation retreat. And that really got my interest. That sounded way more real than what I'd been doing. And I asked him where I could go to do a retreat of my own. He laughed at me. He said, "Retreat? Jeffrey, you don't even know how to meditate." And that shocked me. It was actually the first time it had occurred to me that maybe I had just been making it up, maybe just improvising, pretending to meditate. And he told me that what I'd been doing was exactly what most people do. He said meditation is so new to the Western world that most people have no idea how to begin. They read a few books and then they just imitate what they think meditation must be. But then they think they're experiencing meditation results and they get caught. And then, after some time, they quit. So basically, he nailed me. My experience had been exactly what he described, and I could see that if things didn't turn around soon, I'd probably quit. But then he offered to show me how it's really done, and that conversation changed the course of my life. He gave me a foundation, and he also introduced me to teachers who he thought I might enjoy training under. So I found them, and I started learning from them in a real way in a community. That was almost 30 years ago. Along the way, I was trained to teach, and it became my career. And over all those years of training and teaching, I began to see something important about learning meditation, and that's this. Meditation systems are centuries old, and they contain everything everyone has ever developed. They're filled with variations of techniques that most of us won't find useful. So it makes sense to just emphasize the most critical point of basic meditation. I reviewed everything that had actually helped my own practice, and I began to build a method that focused just on that. I distilled everything I knew into a meditation-ready instruction. It took 5 years of trial and error to arrive at a final version. I presented it the same way to new students and experienced students alike. I gambled that even the older students would appreciate a clear, fresh return to the foundation. And they did. But then COVID hit. Suddenly, people everywhere were looking for meditation to support them in lockdown, so I was getting calls from around the world. I took on as many individuals as I could, but the demand was just too much. I developed a new method, one that made starting meditation easy, but kept all the depth of the great traditions. And this method worked as well online as it did in person, so that was the beginning of a new turn in my approach. That method became Finding Ground Meditation. Now this is all I teach. I hear almost daily from students about how much it's clarified their journey of meditation. For students who start this right from the beginning, they make progress faster than anything I've seen before. They become confident and clear about what they're doing. The practice isn't mysterious to them, it's just exciting. Since then, I've led Finding Ground retreats every month. I'd love to meet you in a Finding Ground training environment. Finding Ground is the clearest method I've ever encountered. Honestly, I wish I had learned this way.